Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about the NFL news that's going on right now, the situation with the COVID 19 rules. For anybody who hasn't heard about the COVID 19 NFL rules for this season, upcoming season, it is a quite interesting turn of events, if I do say so myself. So, what does this involve? So COVID 19, obviously, huge deal, and it's been pretty much screwing up our country as well as the whole world, for that matter, for over a year now. And this is no stranger when it comes to professional sports because it has obviously hurt everybody, but it has also affected the stuff that we see in media as well as our entertainment value, which is sports. So in the NFL, they created a new rule for this upcoming season, which is going to affect unvaccinated players. So NFL football players, NFL owners, NFL teams, clubs have basically gotten a memo from the NFL office that basically indicates that if you are a football player who is unvaccinated, and there's a COVID outbreak on the team you play for, if they cannot reschedule or postpone the game, they're basically saying that you and your team will forfeit a game and you will lose to that team you're supposed to play, but also both teams won't get paid anything for that week, including the team that will be declared the winner. This is a quite interesting situation because this is basically now going to force people that do not want to get vaccinated to get vaccinated. It's going to put more pressure on them because they basically are saying, well, we can't force you to vaccinate, but, we're going to basically force your hand because you're basically going to ruin it for your team if you don't. Now, here's the deal about this rule. One, I don't know if this is exactly going to be allowed because we're talking about, health issues and whatnot, but even more than that, and this is from an unbiased perspective here, because I actually, newsflash to anyone who doesn't know, I did get vaccinated. So I just want to put that out there before we get started. The hate comments in the comment section over there. So, anyways, so here's the situation. So this whole thing could have simply been avoided. Also, there will also be other penalties too for the teams if they have an outbreak. So here's the thing about this whole issue that's going on, this new rule that the NFL is putting out. This is the problem. This is a rule that should have been in place last year. And I'm not talking about the unvaccinated, vaccinated debates for COVID-19 because that didn't exist last year in the NFL. It did not exist. But we've seen a lot of COVID outbreaks in the NFL, which resulted in a lot of games being postponed. But by the NFL postponing a lot of these games to different days, different times, etc., or just reschedule or switching different games, there were games that were switched to different days in rotation, whatnot. By the NFL doing this, last year, they also indirectly were basically making it harder for everyone else. Um, and people were calling for teams that had COVID outbreaks last year to have games be forfeited. For example, the first one that I remembered, which I believe was the first one that happened, was the Tennessee Titans against the Buffalo Bills. The Tennessee Titans had multiple outbreaks. I think there was like as much as 14 players, if I'm remembering correctly, that had an outbreak, and they had to reschedule it 3 different times, and ultimately it was rescheduled like 6 weeks, or I no, was it? Yeah, it was 3 different times. I don't know if it was I think it was rescheduled to a couple weeks later. I don't remember, but it was scheduled to happen, but it was scheduled to happen later. They had to forfeit their bye and all that. It was ridiculous, and people kept saying that the Titans should just forfeit or be mandated to forfeit because there was an outbreak on their end. It was not on Buffalo's end, so why should they be penalized? And then also we seen it. There were other cases too, but another one that was really significant was the Baltimore Ravens later in the season, in the regular season, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was supposed to be a Thanksgiving Day game, and it got rescheduled until literally next Wednesday. The next Wednesday. That's how long it took to reschedule that. It was rescheduled 4 different times. It went from Thursday to Friday to Sunday to Monday, and then to Wednesday. I think that's 5, but I don't remember the exact thing. But point being is Pikachu. Sorry about that. So point being is this this could have been avoided had the NFL forced teams to forfeit last year. Because if they would have forced teams to forfeit last year because of COVID outbreaks, I don't think this whole vaccine versus unvaccinated argument in the NFL would have been very prevalent, because they would have been already doing it last year when there was no vaccine. But now that there is a vaccine, and they're all of a sudden they're putting this rule in place where now, oh yeah, now you're going to forfeit games if you aren't vaccinated. I think that's quite hypocritical, because people were calling for forfeited games last year when COVID outbreaks happened. Not to mention, to be frank, there are people that are vaccinated that are still getting it, that are still getting COVID. Okay, it doesn't all the way protect you. It gives you more stability to basically prevent you from getting it, but you're still at risk even with the vaccine. But it's not you're not as likely to get it, at least from what I've looked up, and from what has been said, is that you can still get it, but it's not as easy to getting it as you could if you're unvaccinated. But this is a situation where this is going to cause a lot of friction. There are already NFL players that are unvaccinated that have come out and basically said, I don't know if my future is going to be here. Dante Hawkins, the wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, had come out and basically said that I don't know what my future is going to be because I, refuse to get the vaccine. Um, you know, so I'm very eager to see what's going to happen because we're starting to see, obviously, Cole Beasley from the Bills was very vocal about it for about a couple months now, but we're starting to see some other prominent players come out and say that I'm not going to get the vaccine. And so this is going to cause a real big riff with a lot of the NFL players. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work with a players association because this to me seems like a players association issue, not so much an NFL issue, because obviously the players are the ones that are going to be the most affected by this than anyone else. So this seems more like something that the union is going to have to ref out with the NFL. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure what the CBA, because I don't know if the CBA shows the appliance for COVID because this was probably signed in before COVID was a thing. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to result for the NFL and for the players in general. It's going to be a quite interesting development in the next couple of months to see what the players are going to do, because if we start seeing prominent players, be like, look, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not going to get vaccinated, which, again, that's their decision. Like I'm not gonna judge people that didn't get vaccinated. I didn't get vaccinated right away. I got vaccinated May 29th. That was when I did it. It had been available to the public in my states in April, but I waited close to 2 months before I got my vaccination because I wanted to see how it was working out for everyone else. That was what I was waiting for. Once I felt comfortable enough to get it, I got it. That's my own personal take on it. But everyone else is different. Some people had to get it right away. Some people that, work with community jobs or whatever, or work with people in the community or nurses, doctors had to get it right away or were allowed to get it right away because they were essential workers. But people that didn't have jobs like that had to basically wait until it was available for the public. For my state, it was around April. I think it was early April. I think it was like April 5th was when it officially was available for us. But in New York here. But for other people, it was a wait. And like I said, I waited until May 29th to get the first dose. And I ended up then getting the second one 3 weeks later on June 19th. So I waited a little bit for it. So I can understand where some of these players are coming from and not wanting to get it right away. I don't know exactly what the full situation for everyone. Some of them might just not want to get it in general. But some other people like me were more cautious and waiting to see how it was going to affect other people first before we got it. That was kind of where I was at with it. But I don't know. But I don't know if this is the rule that should be put out because it should have been put out last year when there was no vaccine. Because if they had put this rule out last year when there was no vaccine, people would have expected this more to be coming than this year it coming, because no one expected it to come this year, because they didn't do that last year. So why would they do it this year? So if they would have done this last year when there was no vaccine, I think it would have been more expected than it is this year, where now there's more players not happy about this rule. So that's my take on this. Again, this is a very subjective thing. I don't want people to kind of think that I'm trying to lean towards one side or another. I always try to keep things unbiased as possible when we talk about things, especially like this, which is a very, very decisive disagreements on most people when it comes to this type of issue. Obviously, and you know, it's a very, very hard conversation with a lot of people, because a lot of people have different feelings about it. People have different life experiences behind it. For me, you know, it was something that I ultimately ended up doing because of other situations that I won't want to get into. But you know, this is just one of those things where I think the NFL is really kind of overstating itself with this, especially since they didn't do it last year when they should have done it last year. They should have had this rule in place last year instead of trying to force the games onto everybody. But now they're now putting it down where they're not going to make the effort to try and keep postponing games. But basically force it on the players this year. So that's my take on this, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this. Try to keep it civil. I don't want to hear political ideologies in this, because this is more about the NFL than anything else, but indirectly goes in the COVID debate. But yeah, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear any nasty stuff like that. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku Moderator. Peace.